Hello friends, how's it going? It's me, Betty Jean. Today's video is another segment of my top 10 series. I've been breaking down various parts of my makeup collection and telling you what my top 10 absolute favorites are. In this video in particular, I'm going to be talking about my powder blushes. I already talked about my creams and liquids in the last one, and now I'm diving into powders. And these are specifically single powder blushes. I didn't really want to delve into like face palettes and stuff like that. I might do a face palette video, but I feel like I do reach for my singles more than I do face palettes anyways, so I don't know if I'll do a face palette one, but anyways, this is just talking about my single powder blushes. If you know me at all, I love a glowy cheek. If you can't tell, I love blush. It is my favorite part of makeup. I love pigment. I love just shiny, glowy, pigmented blushes. So that's what you're gonna get a lot of in this video. I do have two matte blushes that I included as well, but most of these are gonna be glowy and I'm very excited about them. A lot of these are blushes that I've been loving for years and years and years. Some are ones that I discovered just last year, but I'm excited to chat about all of them. I'm gonna do this very similarly to the way I did the last video as well, where I picked just 10 different formulas and I'm giving you my favorite shade from each formula. That way I can give you a pretty wide variety of just all the different brands and formulas that I like without just talking about, you know, one singular one 6 times, because in the case of my number one favorite, there are 6 shades and I absolutely would have talked about all 6 of them. But I wanted to give a little bit more variety than that. So 10 different formulas, my favorite shade in each formula, and we're gonna get into it. Before we do, I did of course film this look. It should already be up on my Instagram and YouTube shorts by the time this video goes up. And as far as my accessories go, I got it at a spooky shop in Orlando, Prometheus Esoterica, years ago. These little cutie witchy cat earrings though are from Spooky Doodle Club. So yeah, without further ado, let's just hop in and chat about my top 10 favorite blushes. Kicking it off with number 10, the bottom 2 are my 2 matte picks for this video, just because I do favor a glowy blush. So we're gonna get into the mattes first. And I guess I do also wanna preface by saying I tend to layer my blushes. I mentioned this in my cream and liquid favorites video as well, but I tend to always put on like a cream or liquid first and then I'll top a powder on top. That could be partially why I do favor a glowy cheek. On top of the fact that I do enjoy just the glowy look of it, I do just feel like a glowy like powder just layers on top of a cream or liquid so nicely. I love mixing and matching and making fun little blush combos. It gives me a way to use multiple parts of my makeup at the same time, but I still do the same with matte. I will still layer a matte on top of a liquid and cream, but I don't know. I'm just giving you like my thoughts and like why I like the things that I like. This is my routine. Let's get into number 10. Number 10 is one of my Oden's Eye blushes. They have a matte and a glowy formula, and I actually am talking about both just because they are 2 separate formulas, but I did want to talk about the matte one here. My favorite shade in particular is Orange Sunny. It's just such a good shade. So, so pretty. I really enjoy these matte blushes. They are pretty pigmented and they blend out really nicely. I feel like they have a really nice kind of just soft blurred effect on the cheeks. So, so pretty. They have a pretty good variety of colors. I will say they have like discontinued a lot of these like Solmain blushes and highlighters. I don't know why, because they're all amazing. I know some are still available, but not all. So I can't promise this particular shade will be available. I'll link what I can down below. But just in general, I do love all of the blushes from Oden's Eye, but this is my favorite of this matte formula specifically. Orange Sunny, so cute. I love a pretty wide variety of shades as well. I feel like my sweet spot is like a terracotta blush. I feel like if I had to pick one blush color, it would probably be a terracotta because I feel like it goes with a lot of things really well. But I also love a bright orange. I love a baby pink. I love a, maybe not like a hot magenta, but like a vibrant pink. I do enjoy that. I've gotten more and more into like the baby pinks and the vibrant pinks lately. Again, maybe not so much a magenta. That's not really my favorite. I love brown blush. I love yellowy blush. It's just, I love a pretty wide variety. Pretty much as long as it's not like a dark magenta. That's just not my favorite color to use on my cheeks. I don't know why, but everything else is fair game. Moving on to number 9 is my other matte pick. This is one of the Kaleidos blushes in the shade Dreamwalk. It is so pretty. I've loved this for years, and I feel like especially over the last, I'll say 2 years or so, when I got really into like these vibrant, softer pinks, this one just became a fast favorite. I almost shouted out Joyride because that was my original favorite, but I just can't deny how much I love this pink. It's so soft, but still so vibrant on the cheeks. It's so eye-catching and so pretty, and I feel like especially if you're into kind of this cooler tone pinky vibe, this is the way to go. This formula is very soft, very buildable, very blendable. They have a pretty, they they have an okay range of colors. I think they have 9 shades now. The original 5 are amazing. The 4 they released a year or 2 ago are very, very, very pale, and I'm very fair-skinned and they don't show up that well on me, but if you are even fairer than me or like to use lighter blushes to mix with other things, you'd probably like those as well. But the original 5 shades are really cool. They have like kind of a winey red, Joyride is kind of like a yellowy brown, there's like a bright peach, bright like corally shade if I'm remembering correctly, and then this one, so cute, very soft, just blurred buildable formula. Moving on to number 8, getting into my first glowy blush. It is my Flower Beauty blush in the shade Berry More. This is the only one I own in this formula, and I've been saying for so long that I really need to get more shades because they are so pretty. And I believe in this formula they make both matte and glowy versions, not of the same color, but they just have different formulas. But this is the glowy one. It's not like the most in-your-face highlighty glow. It's very much more of a satin, if you can kind of tell. So pretty. I feel like it layers on the cheeks so beautifully. Just gives you a really nice flush of color with a little bit of that satin sheen behind it. It is so gorgeous, and I just love this. This is one of those products that, like, when I first got it sent to me and I tried it, I just thought it would just be an okay blush, but I was like, wow, this is actually like incredible. So that was a happy little discovery. Moving on to number 7, Lethal Cosmetics makes beautiful glowy blushes. I have, I think, 8 of them in my possession, and this one is definitely the one I use the most. This is the shade Ornamental. Just a beautiful kind of rosy terracotta sort of shade. I love these like reflex that are kind of melted into the shadow. Such a good color. I just love that glow. It has a bit more of a glow than that Flower Beauty one, but it's still not like intense highlighty by any means. It definitely just has kind of that more satin glowy sort of vibe, but very pigmented, very blendable. They have a pretty good range of colors as well. They have things that are a little bit more neutral, but they also have things that are really funky, like very vibrant pinks. They have a purple, a bright yellow, bright orange. Like they have really fun shades on top of their also being neutral shades. Moving on to number 6, and I have to preface, this is technically a highlighter, but I have used this for years and years and years. This particular shade on my skin tone works beautifully as kind of like a blush lighter, blush topper, glowy blush sort of vibe. But just on a technicality, this is a highlighter as far as what the product is called. But for me, and what I use it for, is definitely a blush. It is the Melt Digital Dust Highlighter in the shade Genesis. This has been a long time favorite. This actually used to be my number 1 favorite for a long time. So crazy that it's gotten dethroned by 5 above it. Like, crazy, but this is still very loved. Honestly, it's a very similar formula in my opinion to the like duo like honeybee highlighters they came out with. I own the shade Buzzkill. There's like I think 2 other ones, something like that, but this one's definitely more in your face glowy. If you have a darker complexion, that would be the most stunning highlighter in the world, but as you can see, way more vibrant and reflective than like the satin blushes, but again, because it is a highlighter. But I don't feel like it's so highlightery, glittery, sparkly that it looks weird to wear on your cheeks as a blush. I feel like it's more of like that softer glow, so it just works really well. Just an amazing find, and I love this. It's been a favorite forever. I love that coral with the gold reflex shining through. So good. Moving on to my top 5. Number 5 is going to be one of the glowy Oden's Eye blushes. Again, they've come out with both glowy and matte versions, and this is their most recent glowy one. It's literally just called Glow Powder. It's honestly more glowy than their previous glowy blushes, not by an extreme amount because they were always pretty glowy. You roll this sleeve down so I don't get pink all over it, but this one is just kind of another level of glow. Such a pretty corally shade. Very much that like blush lighter, blush topper sort of vibe. This is like one of my favorite things. I love kind of that blushy, blush lighter, highlighter combo right now. Like I feel like over the last literally like a few weeks to a month, it's not that I don't like highlighter because I still do, but I've really been gravitating towards these types of products where I kind of get a 2-in-1. Like I put on my creamer liquid and then I top something like this over it. And then sometimes I'll still add another highlighter if I want to, but sometimes I just leave it at this and it just gives me such a beautiful combo. I love this color. Such a beautiful formula. I would love to see them expand this range in this very glowy formula because it's so good. I just love it. I feel like you can go really, really heavy-handed with it and get a lot of pigment, or you can go in with just a really light hand if you just want a little dusting. It is so versatile and so beautiful. Number 4, I'm gonna give to my NYX Buttermelt blushes. These are just so pretty. I own 3 shades. I have been very tempted to get more, but I'm just like, I really don't need more. This is definitely my most used in the shade Feelin' Butta. It is just so good. I actually think this formula also comes in both a matte and shimmer version. They have 2 different ones, and they have a pretty expansive range of shades, so there's probably something for you there. But it's right here, just this really beautiful terracotta. I just love it. So glowy. Like, it has a bit more of a glow than these more satiny ones here, but not as highlighty as these two. It's very much in the middle. Very much a pigmented, glowy blush. You could do a light hand and use it more as a topper if you want to, or you could just go all in and have a very pigmented, glowy cheek, which I love. Just so pretty. These are so, like, Buttermelt is the best way to describe these. They're so buttery in the way they blend and melt into the skin. They're just so pretty, so delicious. I love so much. Such a killer formula. I'm very into it. Number 3, I'm gonna give to the Singe Beauty blushes. These glowy blushes are so good. They are just so beautiful and satiny and blend into the skin so nicely. There are 4 shades so far, hoping for a shade expansion down the road because these are so pretty. This is in the shade Persistent Persimmon. I used to say Persimmon. Apparently that's wrong. The pronunciation police arrested me. It's all been taken care of, but it is such a cool yellowy orange shade. So fun. I particularly love pairing this with the other Singe blushes, honestly, like kind of doing one of the shades down here and then doing the yellowy one on top. It's just such a pretty gradient. And I thought about featuring Risky Raisin because I do wear that one a lot too, but this yellowy shade, I just cannot get enough of. It's so unique, so fun. I feel like even though it's technically yellow, I feel like it's a very wearable orangey yellow. It's very cool. It's just so pretty. Like, imagine it like blended into this, like such a good combo. Beautiful formula. Again, it has a little bit more of that satin sheen. Again, a bit more impactful than maybe these two, but maybe not quite as glowy as the Buttermelt ones, but still very stunning nonetheless. Ranked number 2 is so good. It's what I'm wearing all over my cheeks today. Just so pretty. This is the Celestial Cheek Glaze from the Blend Bunny and Ellis Atlantis collection. This is very much kind of a blush topper, blush lighter, highlighter, hybrid sort of thing. It's literally just called a cheek glaze. I even went to the website last night. I was like, is this technically a highlighter anyway? It literally just says cheek glaze. There's no distinctive box it's put in between blush and highlights. It is its own thing, and it is stunning. I have used this in both ways. I've used a light hand and used it just as a face highlighter. I've really packed it on and used it as like a blush topper. It's just so pretty. It is the most like silky, delicious highlighty shade, very similar to like the Oden's Eye one as far as like the level of shine, but it is so much more of like a, I don't want to call it a glossy texture because that's not correct either, because it's not that it feels wet, but it just has a very smooth, like blendable glaze. Cheek glaze is the best way to describe it. It is called the best description because that's just what it is. It's just so perfect and glossy without it actually being a cream. It is so cool. I am begging, Blend Bunny, if you're watching this, I'm begging you, please create more shades in this formula because it is one of my top favorite things of all time. It is just so good. I would happily use this every day. Moving on to number 1. If you know me at all, I think you know what my number 1 was gonna be. It's the Luminous Powder Blushes from Rare Beauty. This product was made for me. Like, I might as well have been in the lab with Selena Gomez herself making this product because it is so perfect. I love all 6 of the shades, but the shade Happy is my favorite. I love this shade so much that I accidentally broke it and went out and bought another one. It's just so pretty. These are very much like more sheer, but still intense, like blush toppers. Like with just a light layer, you just get a little bit of kind of that toppery sheen. They work so beautiful by themselves, but again, because I like to layer cream and powders together, it's just flawless on top of a liquid or cream. But that's just like one soft layer, but you can really build it up to get some pretty intense impact with it. I feel like especially on days that I do want a very cute, luminous, still kind of blush lighter-y cheek, but I don't want it to be necessarily as highlighted as like this one or the Glow Powder. This is the perfect combination. It's just so pretty. All of the shades are great. Like we have everything from like this bright pink, we have like a darker plum, we have a vibrant red, we have more peachy shades, just so good. I just love this product. I love it so much. It's so smooth. This baked formula is such a beauty to have on the cheeks. It doesn't look chunky or highlighty, because like if like the cheek glaze or the Oden's Eye one are just too chunky highlightery of a glowy topper for you, that's where this comes in. Like I feel like it has definitely more impact than like more of these satiny ones. Like it definitely has that light flash going through it, but it's not gonna be like sparkly, if that makes sense. Because I mean, I do love a sparkly cheek, don't get me wrong, but I love this so much. It's just my top favorite. I've reached for these time and time again. This was such an amazing release last year, and it crept into my favorites so fast. It's just what I love in a cheek product. Between these two, I feel like I could be happy. Like especially if this cheek glaze were in more shades, I could live with only these two blushes, and I think I'd be happy. But yeah, this is my my roundup, my 10 favorite blush formulas in my 10 favorite colors in each formula. Pretty good range here. You can kind of get a vision of the colors that I like. I like pinks, I like oranges, I like terracottas, I like this berry tone. I would love to hear your thoughts. Are you obsessed with any of these formulas the way I am? Are any of these speaking your language? What are your favorite blushes? Feel free to leave your top 10 if you have 10, or feel free to just leave your #1 favorite. If you made it to the end of this video, why don't you leave blushes that represent the color of blush you like to wear. I did that in the last one. I'm gonna do it again. I liked seeing the emojis that represented the colors that you like to wear. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Helps my channel out a lot. And if you're not already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm BATTYBEAN there as well. And also, I would love it if you hopped over to my second channel. It's in my description box if you want some additional content. And also, you're welcome to join my channel membership. The link to sign up is in my description box as well. There's a couple different tiers with a couple different perks, and I would love to have you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Okay, bye.